Hello. In this video I am going to explore how this lower time frame indicator can make our life very easy when trading the silver bullet. Chapter 1. Session times, macros, and silver bullet times. The time component of the New York session is designed to be implemented on 1 minute, but will work on any time frame up to 15 minutes. Here is what it is plotted when the Show Session Times option is on. And here is the same chart with timing spelled out. To keep the chart clean, the vertical lines do not cover the candles once price reaches them. Chapter 3.1 Session Levels. Here are all the info that are plotted using this option. In gold we have the New York midnight opening price. In thick blue we have the 9:30 New York session opening price. In small dotted blue we have yesterday closing price. This level is plotted since the previous day close in order to forecast the session gap, if necessary. The small blue lines stacked above and below price are the standard deviation of today's session gap. The three rectangles are today's session gap, yesterday session gap, and the day before yesterday session gap, as they can be very influential on price delivery. Now that we can add time and price to our chart, let's review the New York session for US 100 on Thursday, the 17th of August. Open and tiny Judas. Expansion lower. Macro 1 provides continuation lower into one standard deviation of today's session gap. Macro 2 set the stops for the stop run during lunch hour. Lunch hour pop into premium above the new day opening gap, the New York midnight opening price and inside today's session gap. PM session ends with a run for the stops below the previous day's low, in green. Just brilliant. Chapter 2. Same time frame equal highs and lows, and relative equal highs and lows. This functionality compares the price of each new swing high and low, with each previous untapped swing high or swing low, and plots a line for every relatively equals levels. Here we can see how the equal highs are displayed. In light red we have the low resistance liquidity runs, while in grey we have the high resistance liquidity runs. There are a few options to play with here. Option A, the threshold multiplier. This is a value that allows flexibility between strict equal highs and relative equal highs. If the threshold multiplier is set to 0, only strictly equal highs are displayed, so the two levels 3402.4 and 3402.3 are considered not equal, and therefore not displayed, while the human eye would see them as equal. If the threshold multiplier is set to 1, the variances between equal levels are as follow. US 500 and S&P, price plus or minus 50 cents. US 100 and Nasdaq, price plus or minus $4. US 30 and Dow Jones, price plus or minus $10. DXY, price plus or minus $0.0001. If the threshold multiplier is above 1, then we might have levels that are not at all equal that are shown as equal. This might be an issue with close-by candles but not as much with far-away candles, so even if I have tried to give my personal best shot, I believe that this value should reflect a personal feel. Option B, allow us to filter the equal levels through the minimum number of candles between each swing point. Option C, allows us to display only low resistance liquidity runs. Option D, allows us to change the color of each line. Option E, allows us to reduce the amount of previous days we look for equal levels. This is very handy in trending weeks, where the chart can really get cluttered up. Option D, extend options. Due to trading view limitation, I can't extend the lines the way I want, and still maintain the difference between low resistance and high resistance liquidity runs. So I had to compromise. With option 1 we can extend the lines to the time of price, so to leave the right side of the chart clean, but we can't maintain the difference between low resistance and high resistance liquidity runs. While with option B we can maintain this difference, but the lines extend to the end of the chart, cluttering things up. Chapter 3. Same time frame fair value gaps and all fair value gaps. Fair value gaps are one of the pillars of ICT's concepts and specifically of the silver bullet. This PDA has been illustrated at length by Michael, so I don't feel like spending much time on it. The most important feature of this chapter, and also a core concept in this model, is the all fair value gap. This is my dear darling for validating and entering a demo trade. And if you follow my channel, you will love it as well. This is a concept that I have developed throughout the years, and it is so strong that I personally plot a fair value gap on the chart, only if it is of this kind. The all fair value gap, or high probability fair value gap, is plotted when a fair value gap is present on all three averages at the same time. It borrows the concept from SMT and inter-market analysis, and it is so strong that I base my entries for the silver bullet solely on it. Here is an example of how simple fair value gap and high probability fair value gap looks as a default, but all colors can be changed and box extended. In order to expand this powerful tool, I have also recently added the option of plotting on 1-minute chart, any all fair value gap that happen on 2-minute chart and 3-minute chart. Here is how they look as a default. The 1-minute all fair value gap is brightly colored with no border, and is 3 candles long. The 2-minute all fair value gap is faintly colored, has a dotted border and is 4 to 5 candles long. The 3-minute all fair value gap is faintly colored, has no border and is 6 to 7 candles long. Chapter 4. Volume imbalances on the same time frame. I am a great fan of volume imbalances on daily chart though, as they are a must-have on any asset class. On the other hand, I am not a fan of volume imbalances on very low timeframes, mostly because there are too many of them, and even if they served me well for the dollar index on 5-minute chart, I do not use them as much trading indexes. I have tried to extend the concept of high probability fair value gap to the volume imbalance, but in my opinion this is not as strong. Here is an example of how the levels are plotted on 1-minute chart. The dark rectangles are the high probability volume imbalances, while the light-colored rectangles are the regular volume imbalances. Chapter 5. Same time frame SMT. In this indicator I have coded for 3 different kind of same time frame SMT, to be used on lower time frame. I have tried my best to keep the chart clean. All lines are deleted if the SMT ceases to be valid, and if the SMT references swings that are too far behind, but there might be some instances where different SMT happen on different couples, cluttering things a bit. Chapter 5.1. SMT, price to swing. Here we reference every swing that happens on the same candle for each couple of indices and detect SMT. Chapter 5.2. SMT, price to intermediate swing. Here we reference every swing that has a higher swing on each side and that happens on the same candle for each couple of indices, and detect SMT. Chapter 5.3. SMT, swing to swing. Here we reference every swing that happens on the same candle for each couple of indices, and detect SMT, if a new swing of the same kind happens. Chapter 6. Mixed market alert. As Michael often says, it is more important to know when not to trade than how to enter a trade. This functionality helps us in this, highlighting when the probabilities are not on our side. If one average is trading in the upper 30% of the current day trading range, and another index is trading in the lower 30% of its trading range, we have a mixed market, and in my view it is better to drop leverage or not to trade at all. The mixed markets alert can be displayed as a background color or text. The percentage of the daily range and the color of the background are customizable. Chapter 7. Bull and bear market. Here the indicator detects break in market structure on the time frame displayed. If we are in a bull market and we close below a swing low, this is a likely break in market structure, and there is the likelihood of lower prices, and the indicator displays a bear signal. If instead of lower prices the uptrend resumes, the indicator returns a bull signal. And so on. Conclusion. In this video I had to break down this indicator in its components, none of which, by themselves alone, are enough to create a comprehensive trading system. Your success in trading will derive from blending this indicator's components in the way that fits your character. In order to appreciate the indicator capabilities and its effectiveness in aiding the study of price action and trading, I offer this indicator for free for a whole month. Furthermore, I will post short videos of my intraday analysis in order to facilitate your journey in trading.